copyright is, your ownerships, like your title to that music that you created. Are you able to get yourself a publisher that knows what he's doing? An advance is nothing but your own money from the future.
So don't eat it now.
Right, because most contracts that come with an advance will not terminate until that money is recouped with interest. Seun Kuti bragging that his father is still sending him checks from the grave. What was he talking about? His royalties.
Right.
I think if they sold, it would have been a big mistake. There's wine that the older it gets, the more valuable it gets.
Yeah. What are the things that you think every artist, producer, songwriter should watch out for while signing an agreement or while finalizing a track?
Well, before you sign anything, get a lawyer. That's the oldest wisdom in the game.
Don't use ChatGPT.
A lawyer. Oh, man.
Most music creators chase hit, but only few understand the money behind the music. For decades, African music has shaped cultures and moved the world. Yet many music creators still struggle to claim what rightfully belonged to them. On this episode of Creative Greatness, we dive into music publishing, royalties, copyright, and the real truth about music ownership with one of the brilliant minds in the game, music and entertainment lawyer, Justin Ige.
Mr. Justin, it's finally good to have you. We should have had this conversation a long time ago. I know behind the scene, a lot of great stuff that you have done, some powerful moves that you have made in the background. And I just wish some few people that really need some of the services that you offer and some of the advice, apart from the legal advice, you're somebody who do music. So that makes it even more easy because you know how to do music and you also connect with creators in terms of how they get paid. So those two things, the intersection is a huge thing for me because I'm also on that lane. So I'm so excited to have you on this conversation. And but when you look back, because I know for more than 20 years now you've been doing this and you've really impacted a lot of people, from Two-Face to so many other artists. So what can you say about the African music, the Nigerian music? How have you seen the growth in this past few decades? What have you noticed? Because a lot of people are beginning to say, oh, the Nigerian music industry is not growing again. But I know the number says otherwise, and I know where we're coming from. So I would like to know what you think about all of that.
Nigerian music is growing. There's no doubt about that. And I think Nigerian music has been big historically, even 20 years back, 30 years back. I mean, people like to think about it from 1999, as if that's when Nigerian music, contemporary music industry started. No, it is not. Long before then, we had giants like Majek Fashek, Ras Kimono, even Sonny Ade. These are contemporary pop guys, and they were touring, going to big shows internationally and all of that. So there's almost nothing, that is being done now that hasn't been done. But because of the digital age and the fact that the world is better connected, it appears that in the last decade or so, things blew up, and then with streaming, music can travel further. So it's I think it's technology that has driven things further in terms of reach, and it hasn't stopped. It really, really, really hasn't stopped. People are still doing big things. The numbers are there. Because right now it seems like it's a few people that have been dominating, the charts for a while. People want to see more stars being made, but it's not easy to make stars.
Yes.
It's not easy to make stars at all.
And what you said now that really got me thinking is that it's not new. There's nothing new under the sun, as Solomon says. We've had the Sonny Ade, the Obeys, the Fela, the Majek Fashek as the Whiskey, Davido, and Burna Boy. Because if you see some of their old videos, even in the 80s, in the 70s, they are using Rolls Royce. They are doing all of these things.
Yes, they were big boys.
Yes. But what are still the shortcomings, the issues, the problems that you still see It could be structural wise. I know that is like something that we have always been talking about. But what are the issues there are a lot of issues, but what are the more pronounced issues that you can see that is still visible that you wish something could have been done about them?
For me, well, because I have been involved professionally in rights management, and perhaps before then, it saddens me, that questions of rights management, have not improved. The lot hasn't improved that much locally. That is, internationally, yes, but locally, it hasn't improved that much. It's like we take 2 steps forward and we take 1 step backward. And this is a problem that has been there since. I mean, my father was a musician as well. You might not know.
Oh, wow. Interesting.
Oh, yes. Yes. And I've been, from childhood, I've been hearing my father complaining, I didn't get my royalties. Okay,
what's the name of your dad?
You wouldn't know him because he never blew.
Yeah, but you blew now, so you're repping the family.
I don't know if I'm a retired musician, so as a musician, I didn't blow either.
No, but what you're doing behind the scene is much more bigger than music itself. I don't know, because I feel like what's the advantage of for musicians when they are not getting paid, and for the fact that people don't really know that, for the fact that you have impacted a lot of people from getting paid. I need countless of people. At least the visible one that I know that I can just mention is Calm Down. I know Calm Down publishing what that song has brought to the producer and Revive is huge. So, and these are the things that people like you supported with. So I believe that impact is on a bigger scale, even bigger.
The impact is there.
Yeah.
Even when we talk about industry wide, I mean, hundreds of people have received royalties, directly relating to my work. Hundreds, if not thousands, as a matter of fact, I've received royalties, directly. But the thing is that a lot of the work, unfortunately, that I did and the successes, that they've not been exactly sustainable. They've not been exactly sustainable. For example, I've worked in collective management for over 15 years, and can we say CMOs or collecting societies in Nigeria are doing significantly better than they were doing 15 years ago? Can we really, really say that? At some point, there was growth between, maybe for the first 7-8 years, there was significant growth, But after that time, we started seeing some decline due to, government
influence,
change of policies and things like that, And so we've seen a steady decline, for a few years now. Maybe we'll start seeing some growth, I believe, around the corner, But we can't have periods of growth and decline, growth and decline, growth and decline. It's not very helpful.
Yeah, inconsistency.
That's something I would like to see different. Want to change that if we can. Growth, steady growth, consistent
growth, like upward growth. Yeah, we don't want this like this. We don't want this type of call.
Yes.
Yeah. So
we don't.
when you look at a lot of people still don't know about royalty. They still don't know about publishing. You will be surprised that I don't know the statistics right now, but if you look at the entire industry and you look at people who really making money from their royalties, their publishing and all of that, they are not much. So for people who is like new, or maybe this might sound like a new topic too, can you just explain what is publishing, what is royalty, what is copyright? Just explain to people that are watching and they feel like this might be something they can benefit from. Yeah.
All right, excellent. I will try to do that very briefly.
Yeah, even though we know it's complicated.
Yeah, and it's a very, very large topic, But this is how I usually like to describe it, So you have what is copyright? Copyright is a form of property. personal property. It's something that you own. It's like land. You know, you have physical property, you have intellectual property. Copyright is one of the arms of intellectual property. So it's property, it's something that you own. You know, it's a legal right attached to something that you created. You know, so if you created music, for instance, since that's what we're talking about, your copyright is, you know, your ownership's like your title to that music that you created. And you can will it, you can sell it, you can license it, you can loan it, you can do whatever it is you want to do with it, like any physical property. Now, if you own, let's say, a building, a real estate, you know, you can engage the services of a real estate manager.
Does it like
know, and say, manage my property. That's good. Property managers manage my property. Good. You know, and likewise, if you have you know, copyright, valuable copyright, you should ask someone to manage it for you, because there are a lot of things that goes into that. You know. And then that person that manages that copyright for you, that's your publisher. You know, so that is what a publisher does in short. You know, he's a manager, but he's a manager of your music copyright.
And so what comes to you every quarter is the royalties.
Yes. So just like you might collect rent.
Rent, okay.
Yes. You know, every year, every month from your real property, you know. Likewise, from your music copyright, every quarter, every couple of months, you know, you get to receive your
rent,
your royalties.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
So why do you think many African artists still struggle, you know, to get their publishing, their royalty? Is it about the knowledge gap or the industry structure? Or, I mean, what are the common mistakes that you can see, like the pattern you've seen that is still making people to fall back behind getting their checks?
Well, there's a knowledge gap, right? There's infrastructure gap, you know, and then when we are really, really talking about locally, there's a compliance gap, legal compliance gap. You know, before you can collect any royalties, somebody must have paid the royalties. You know, in form of license fees. You know, somebody must have paid before anybody can collect.
Okay.
You know, and the process and the act of paying, that's a compliance issue, it's a legal compliance issue. So if we talk about locally in Nigeria, for example, to what extent are users of music copyright paying royalties? It's minimal, very minimal. You know, so that's the number one hurdle. That's the number one hurdle, you know. And you know, then the second hurdle, because copyright management is a global system.
Yeah.
You know, so there are countries, jurisdictions where that number one Nigerian local hurdle is not prominent, like it is, you know, in Nigeria, you know, and that's where you have questions of infrastructure and knowledge.
Knowledge, yeah.
You know, so if you are a local Nigerian music creator, right? Even if Nigerian users are not that, you know, paying royalties as much, there are international users who are paying. So the knowledge gap is: do you know what to do? Do you know what to do?
The knowledge gap, yeah.
Yes, that's where the knowledge gap is. And then the infrastructure gap is: are you able, even if you know what to do, are you able to plug into the system?
Yeah.
Right? Are you able to get yourself a publisher that knows what he's doing? You know, that can get you plugged into the global system. Right? You know, so it should have been reasonably easy, if locally the infrastructure was good, all you need to do, or most of what you need to do, or your publisher to do, is to just register with a collecting society in Nigeria, who has, reciprocal agreements across the world. Theoretically, that should have been the way it works.
Yeah.
And that should have been easy. You should have just sat back, and just collected
your
the
royalties
from your publisher too. We manage relationship on the publishing royalty aspect, with the local collecting society, but infrastructurally, it does not appear to me after all these years that our local CMOs in Nigeria are properly connected to that international global system. That's because most of them have issues with CSAC, which is like the FIFA of this subject. So if you are in football, and your local federation is having issues with FIFA, you know that as a local footballer in a local club, there's a limit to the opportunities.
Yeah, I know.
that will be available. You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
Right. So you might start considering, what, let me go and join another football federation.
Yeah.
Outside, so that I can get properly connected. And it's not everybody that has access, even if you have the knowledge. It's not everybody, because it takes a lot of knowledge, a lot of work, a lot of effort to be able to
align everything. Yeah. And apart from the infrastructural and the knowledge gap that we just discussed about, and some of us that we are also aware, we have the knowledge, we sought every way we could back then to make sure that we do what is right. But however, there are still some limitation. But I don't know, maybe we can call it greed or intentional sabotage. Because I remember at the point that I produced one of the biggest songs in Africa that I ever made, Chop My Money with Akon and P-Square. And I traveled to America. I was talking to my friend, DJ Supermodel, and we were just talking about, okay, so what are the checks? How are they coming in? How is everything? I said, something is not just really right. We have co-song, but I'm not really, this thing is not coming for the way it should. You're having conversation with artists. Artists are telling you that, what is royalties? What are you saying? But I thought we already paid you in the studio back then on these songs, And of course, I was aware. I was talking to Jude Okoye at that time. I said, no, what you paid me was my effort in the studio. Royalty is mine to collect based on my intellectual contribution that I hear. Even these artists that have well traveled, like you said, Sonny Ade, then Fela, they know all these things since 1960s, 70s, 80s. So some of our artists still know this thing, but they are still ripping all our boys off. Of course, you know exactly what we've discussed about this thing. I know personally you've really fought for a lot of producers, that you've really gotten them money, real money. So what can you say about this intentional impediment that is coming from all our artists?
Okay, so, you made Chop My Money a long time ago.
Yeah.
Things have advanced. Perceptions, knowledge, we have improvement from that time. At that time, many of the artists didn't even know. Not to talk of producers and, other contributors. They didn't even know. And if they did not know, even their labels did not know. So if they themselves had a problem with knowledge and you were talking to them about royalties, they thought that the money was supposed to be coming from their pocket. So they will not want to they won't want to pay you again. So, but I got more active in publishing directly, about 10 years ago. You were part of the effort when Greenlight Music Publishing was formed, and that time a lot of, music producers like yourself, they had this same issue, the same concern. We are producing hits, but we are not seeing our checks. What is going on?
Yeah.
And So Greenlight was formed, and we started actively working to reverse that trend, right? And I can tell you, Flip, we did not see as much resistance as we thought we would.
Things have changed now.
Even then, by the time we started working, we did not see as much resistance. There was some resistance. Some artists objected, sent their lawyers. We had meetings with them. But by the time we had the meetings and explained, this is the law, this is the rights of a lot of them just dropped their claims, and that was it.
So I think we can conclude here. I think we can conclude here now that that things have improved, and many artists are well aware now. And we're still going to talk about that 2016 meeting that happened in Oriental Hotel that really revolutionized and changed the game, because a lot of people are not aware about that meeting. But it's just like when you're talking about the meeting that happened in Berlin back in the
Yes.
it's the same thing that I can see, that I can describe that meeting because it changed a lot.
Yes.
Mastercraft was in that meeting, SARS was in that meeting, TY Miss, Puffy T, Legendary Beats, and OJB at the time attended the
OJB was
meeting,
there.
and OJB said something that really got me, that this thing that you guys are doing, that I love it and I'm all in, because you can really tell that it struck a nerve in his body, because he felt like creators should be paid.
I mean, who was the biggest hit maker at the time?
Yeah.
I mean, really, who could compete with an OJB at the
Yeah, so yes,
not even SARS at the time.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
And he joined the Greenlight, and the rest is history. Yeah.
And the truth is that he did it at the time. He was ill, As a matter of fact, unfortunately, he passed away a few days after that meeting.
Wow.
Oh yes, well, just a few days after that, he passed away. But from that meeting, he took steps immediately. That I can tell you, Flip, that guarantees that his works, even many years after he's passed, is generating some money for those that he left behind. I can tell you categorically. You understand what I mean? Yes. And it doesn't have to go through some artist or whatever. It's just a few conversations, tidying up things and having someone to properly manage his copyright, and the infrastructure, and of course. And yes, I can tell you that people are getting checks.
Yeah. I know, right?
Yeah. Take, for example, right, I think months ago, was on social media, Seun Kuti, bragging that his father is still sending him checks from the grave. What was he talking about? His royalties. Of course, his father is not operating a bank account from the grave where he's sending money. He's talking about royalties. His father is still sending him checks from the grave. How many fathers are doing that on a consistent basis?
Yeah, so
royalties, what we are talking about under Nigerian law, will last for 70 years after you are dead. 70 years after you're dead. That should cover your children and your grandchildren.
So that means
it's an important thing.
It's an important thing, yeah. And I want to ask, what are the things, you are in that space as a lawyer, as a creator, you've managed a lot of cases. So what are the things that you think every artist, producer, songwriter should watch out for? Why signing an agreement, or why finalizing a track with an artist in the studio? What are the things you even wish, so many artists, what are the things that you wish they really understood early in their career that they can now correct as they proceed in this new dispensation, quote unquote?
Well, before you sign anything, get a lawyer. I think that's the oldest wisdom in the game. Before you sign anything, get a lawyer that knows the subject.
Don't use ChatGPT.
A lawyer. Oh man. Do not use ChatGPT. You can use ChatGPT for some research, which is good.
Yeah.
It's good that you are knowledgeable yourself about the subject, but don't use ChatGPT for advice.
And I'm going to say it again. Don't be too greedy that you want to make everything, because I remember that we had a gig. We had something that we did together, and you, of course, you managed that project in terms of agreement, everything. When I sent the contract to you, you reviewed, you were able to bring in more money. That was in 2022 when we were doing the royal deal.
Yeah.
With so if you are watching, if you are listening, don't try to say you want to own everything. You want to get all the money. You don't want to give anything to your lawyer or whichever you're working with. You might actually be losing out so much. But if you can review your contract, you can gain a lot, because these people they will tell you what you don't know. You are a creator, you're an artist. Of course, we can know so much or little about here and there, but someone who is in that space know more than you do. So they're able to go to every corner. I know many clauses that you brought out that I never could have thought about. So exactly what I told. So now let's talk about some few disputes that you have you've actually sorted out. One of them in the public space, which I happened to produce that song in 2010. Danny Young, and later there was a particular line that somebody who wrote for Tiwa Savage, consciously, unconsciously, I don't know, just put, and we went to court, and that went well. But why am I bringing this up? Like, there's so many disputes, there's so many producers, so many artists, they have it, but they are too scared. They feel like I don't want to offend someone, and they are losing a lot because they are not addressing it in the first place. What can you say about that?
Because the music industry, this business is largely informal. It's based on informal relationships, and it's all relationship driven. So that's why people are careful. They don't want to spoil relationships. And because of that, they lose out on their rights. They forfeit, they waive their rights because you want to preserve relationships. And it is valuable to preserve relationships.
But there must be a balance.
But there must be a balance. And this is how I tell people to do the balance.
Let somebody represent.
Right? I say, look, let somebody represent you. So you can blame it on somebody like me.
It's my management.
Is that my lawyer? Is that my management? So manager to manager will talk. Lawyer to lawyer will talk. While creative to creative will create.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then relationships are preserved. You understand what I mean? So in the particular example you cited, that's what happened. Creators did not have to face lawyers. No, it's lawyers to lawyers.
Lawyer to lawyers.
And the lawyers were reasonable on both sides. Okay, this is what happened. This is what happened. Okay, we can resolve amicably and resolve it easily. And so it wasn't too difficult, And once people realize, okay, this is the right thing to do, they did it. So sometimes it's people just don't know. People really just don't know. And there might be an initial hesitation because they really do not know. So once you are able to feel that information gap and explain, in a respectful manner, you might see that the initial hesitation may vanish rather fast.
Yeah.
But there are some that no matter how much you explain.
Yeah, I think I get it. I get it. It's better for the professional to handle things, yeah.
Yes, but I've seen in some cases where people are genuinely greedy, frankly, and they will do everything to make sure that maybe the producer or some other contributor doesn't earn what is due to him. I don't want to cite some examples in public space, but I don't want to name names.
Yeah.
But there are some that even you are aware of, and I'm like, I mean, but that's why the courts are there.
Yeah.
So you go to court, but sometimes I try to tell people, because going through the court system can take a long time.
Yeah.
So sometimes I tell people to try and use other
Means just have
to
one
resolve
one-on-one
the dispute.
understanding. Let's balance things out.
Yes.
From what you said, actually, it
And
actually
if all that fails,
then you
then
go to court. From what you said, that actually really makes sense. That I think I'm going to really advise people in that line is that sometimes just do it like this. It's not me. It's just people that I'm working with that they need to really resolve this in this manner. So, and I think that works. That works. It's just very important for you to have someone represent you, even though African, we like doing everything by ourselves. I produce my song myself. I mix my song myself. I can create my video myself. I know how to do lawyer. I don't want lawyer to come and chop my money. I don't, because that's the mentality that, and I understand that's one mentality that we have in Africa. But things are changing now. People are beginning to delegate because that delegation is actually very important. Let some people undo this for you. Let people do that for you. So I think that's actually the best way to make it go. And I see a lot of improvement. You need a team, So tell us about Greenlight. I know you are very highly involved in Greenlight, from building the company and from representing so many of these producers that you are getting checked for. Sometimes I hear the amount of money that comes in for some artists. I'm like, whoa, this just started in form of an idea in Oriental Hotel, and today is really paying off for so many artists. Can you tell us about some producers that you have been able to help, you've collected money for, and you're still representing, and all of that?
Greenlight was a dream that became reality. As at the time, I don't know of any producers who were collecting royalties from their beats, in 2016. So it's about 10 years old now. Greenlight Music Publishing is about 10 years old.
Wow, we should celebrate that.
And it's a dream that I've had long even before then. You might interested to know that I was a producer at some point. I
know.
I made beats. I made beats. I sold beats. I recorded. I mixed. And all of that. So when I started becoming a producer, it still pained me that producers were not getting their true value. So, and I spoke to Olumide. He bought into the idea. Olumide was a producer too. I was interested.
Oh, I didn't know.
Oh yes,
yeah.
Olumide was a producer as well. Olumide, I studied music technology before law, right? In Nigeria, Olumide studied music technology before law in the UK.
Oh, I see that intersection. Yeah,
exactly. So the moment I shared it with him that no, let's do this, he bought into the idea immediately. He could immediately see the picture, and then he shared with Ire Foza at the time, and then it became a reality.
Wow.
And who were some of the guys? You, of course, were one of the guys that we started representing at the time. SARS was there, OJB, like you said, TY Mix, Puffy T, and so many people. Yes.
What happened to songs that you've done years ago? Is it completely lost for people that have probably they've missed out? They didn't do what they were supposed to do.
No, it's not completely lost. Sometimes when we look through the royalty statements, we see dates of 5-6 years back. Yes. And there's somebody that I won't want to mention his name because of confidentiality. It's very popular. I represent him as a lawyer. He was just concerned about his royalties. He had done things that he's supposed to do because he's one of the knowledgeable ones, the knowledge gap, right? He's successful artist, doing well, very experienced. His sister made the introduction, And when he first, in fact, when he first came into my office, this was many years ago, I was so surprised. You know, he saw me, said, "I know you." I said, I don't know you."
Wow.
He said, "No, I've seen you before." You know where he saw me before. Some people have brilliant
Memory, yeah.
You know, he mentioned a particular show that I had done as a saxophonist. I think that was 2002 or thereabout.
Wow.
He mentioned that particular gig. The gig was at Art Theatre, University of Ibadan. You know, I think I was a law student at the time, but we had this jazz performance. You know, he was also a student at the time and had come to watch that gig. He said that time I was still trying to, you know, to really understand this music thing, you know, and you were such a good saxophonist. I was even telling somebody about you that I don't know where the saxophonist disappeared to. I said, well, you've seen where he disappeared to. He disappeared into the law office.
Law office, fighting for your right.
You know, and so, you know, I told him, I said, okay, you've done a lot of things right, but he said he's not seeing the results, you know. And I said it's because there are some other things that you haven't done, you know. And I said, come, Greenlight can do those things for you to mop up some of the money
that is hanging somewhere
left on the table. You know, these other things that you've done because you want to preserve relationships and, you know, all of that, and you want to see how, okay, no problem, we'll leave those virtually untouched, you know, but we are still going to take on, you know, these other steps. And yes, he did get money and he was happy.
Yeah.
He said, oh, this is good because it's additional income.
Yeah. And we all
it's
need that.
Additional income.
We all need that.
Yes, and he was very happy, very impressed that, wow, you know, so it is true. Some money was being left on the table.
We all need that.
And then you can see his works. You know, he can see his works right there on the app. He can see the performance. He can see the analytics. He can see the income generated from what territories, from anywhere in the world. You know, you can see all those details. You can
the
see,
metadata
okay,
and all those, yeah.
This 0.12, you know, penny was earned from South Korea on, you know, you can see all of that.
Yeah.
And I encourage people to look at the analytics so that you can see, you know, have more knowledge about which of your works is even more.
Yeah. Where do you have more
better?
So you can tend to do something similar or in that area or to that audience,
exactly.
to target some audience there.
Exactly. So, yeah.
Yeah. And like you said, like the Nigerian music has really grown. It's really improved from before because, you know, I'm seeing Nigerian artists, producers, songwriters, they are getting advanced. You know, sometimes I've seen an artist that I spoke to someone and they were able to get him $70,000, you know, advance.
Yes.
But one thing, I'm beginning to observe a pattern now. Some of our producers, artists, they are getting advances from these record labels, international record labels. So most of them, instead of them to put that money, to reinvest that money into building their catalog, you know, some of them just go on a shopping spree. They are spending that money anyhow. And you see some of them, they are still trapped in an agreement because they are supposed to deliver, but they are not delivering. It's when you get advance from international record labels to create...
Or even local.
For local, to, you know, to create beautiful catalog so that, you know, it's an agreement. So what can you say about this pattern that I'm beginning to see in the industry?
So... people have to realize that an advance is nothing but your own money from the future.
I like that. Can you say that again?
An advance is nothing but your own money from the future.
So don't eat it now.
It's not a gift. It's not a sign-on fee. It's your money, but from the future. So it's better you invest it rather than spend it. Right? Because most contracts that come with an advance will not terminate until that money is recouped with interest.
Child.
So I've heard of people, I've seen people who feel trapped. They want to leave the contract, but you cannot leave the contract because like you said, you haven't delivered, and when I negotiate contracts with advance for people, I like to include a clause that allows you to buy to
Back.
exit,
Yeah.
pay, so you can pay back. So even if my catalog has not earned that money, I want to do a deal from elsewhere. I can raise funds elsewhere and just pay you off and leave.
Yeah, that makes sense. I never.
Because if that is not there, even if you have the money from somewhere else,
You must deliver.
even if you must deliver, you are not going.
You're not going. Yeah,
But another thing is that some people are wise. Some people are wise. There are people that I have offered an advance. They come and they say, I need money to quickly do this project and all of that. Can I just have, for instance, the person can say, can I just have, 2 million, just to quickly. I say, even if you want 10 million. No, I don't want 10 million. I don't want 10 million. Just give me the 2.
So you should.
So we have, we have producers, we have creative people who are smart too. Who are smart too, who won't just jump on any advance, who will not know, okay, you want to offer me 10 million, thank you. I need just 2 million.
The one that I know in this particular project.
End of story.
I'm going to touch on something
which
now.
Is wise.
I'm going to touch on something now that I feel like, but before then, a lot of our people too, they are also selling, not just our African artists, even internationally, we've seen this pattern beginning to, like T-Pain. So many artists are selling their catalog. They are selling, They are getting $100 million, $200 million. And I've seen so many companies are beginning to come to Africa now, to Nigeria precisely, to buy old catalogs, they're reaching out to the family members and they're buying this catalog. And a lot of artists too, they are selling their catalog, just to get that quick money now. What do you say about this? To me, I think it should also be it should be a balance. I don't believe that you should sell everything. Or you can sell if you know how to make use of that money you are getting now, that can even make you much more money that catalog will have made you in the future. That's another angle. Or why don't you co-own this catalog with this company or sell a portion of it? But that's my own. But I really want you to dive into this. What do you think about people selling off their catalog, their birthright?
Well, when we were kids, there was this adage, that people used to say. I will say it in Yoruba, and I will say it in English. They'll say, "Ọmọ tó kọ́ ló máa gbélé tó kọ́ tà." I don't know whether you ever heard.
Yes, I know what it means. A child that you don't train,
that you did not train,
will sell your entire.
Sell the house that you built. Yeah. So the money that you ought to have used to train the child, you will use that to the child will still sell the house because you didn't train, you didn't invest in the child. My point is that, of course, we know that an adage like that is no longer valid. Because now your children are even building bigger houses. We have houses that parents that was valuable, it's just rotting in the village or rotting somewhere. The child has bigger, better houses, So my point is that it's an asset.
Okay.
If you get a good deal for it, you can sell it.
Sell it, okay.
You can sell it. The moment you sell your catalog, you transfer the risk
to the new owner,
to the buyer.
Yeah.
So even if the catalog doesn't earn that money in the next couple of years or forever, because copyright expires after it times from jurisdiction, it can.
So
you can renew, right? If you get a good deal, and if you have a particular investment you want to put that money in, you think you can get your returns, why not?
Okay.
Why not?
Yeah, that makes sense.
The stupid thing would be if you sold it for peanuts.
Yeah.
Or if you sold it and spent it, unwisely.
Unwisely, yeah. And that takes me to this trending topic.
But if you're old, You know, you look at yourself, you say, my children don't even need this catalog. I don't need to leave this. My children are doing okay. You know, I'm 60, 65. I want to enjoy my life. Sell it, I beg you. You know, or, you know, you have some other urgent need. Okay, you have medical bills to pay.
Yeah. Just make use of the cash flow that is coming in now. Yeah.
Are you going to say don't sell the catalog and die?
True. Yeah.
You know, so there are circumstances that can make selling your catalog wise.
So you need to just
There are circumstances
wait.
that can make selling it unwise. So
Yeah.
it just depends on the circumstances and the particular deal in front of you. I've seen there was a particular acquisition, you know, negotiation that I was involved in. You know, the buyer was international, like, you know, rights owner, old catalog, you know, and they were offering millions of dollars. You know, and with all kinds of concessions that I was trying to work into the deal, they simply did not sell.
Due to best
I
reason
couldn't
known to them.
understand
Why?
they would not sell.
I
The
wi-
deal was too sweet.
I
In my
wish-
mind,
I
the
wish
deal
that
was sweet.
deal-
How much is this?
I wish
whole
that deal-
catalog earning that you can't sell for these millions and millions of dollars. I couldn't believe it.
I wish that deal went through because I know you will have collected your own cut.
Oh yes, I would have collected a decent.
And that takes and that takes me to this conversation around this fella. They said if not because of their sister advice, I don't know if you saw that video trending.
Yes, I saw it.
You know, and they said they could license it, and why not? Why if they can make money from licensing, why selling? Well, what can you say about that fella issue now? Fella, as we all know, is an icon.
Like I said, every transaction, it depends on the deal on the table and the circumstances. You know, let's take Femi, for instance, is doing very well. Shehu is doing very well. You know, with or without Fela's catalog, they are doing well on their own anyway.
So they have no reason
You
to
understand
sell.
what I mean? They have no financial reason to sell.
Sell.
They're not under pressure for money. You know, they are building their own catalogs too. So why would they sell, really? You know, and they're okay. They don't appear to be particularly greedy. They want to blow up their whole inheritance at a go. You know, I don't think. And then they understand, you know, that Fela is not just another artist.
So if they have sold,
No.
if they had sold it, if they have sold that, do you think they will have regretted or they will be regretting it now?
Under the circumstances and the details of the deal
Okay.
that is available
As
to
at then,
me
okay.
and the public, I think if they sold, it would have been a big mistake. You know, there's wine that the older it gets, the more
Sweeter.
valuable it gets.
Yeah. So
That's the Fela catalog.
regarding
Don't
this
sell that.
old catalogs, licensing, selling it, there's no one shoe size fits all. It's all about
there
the Interesting, and interesting.
If somebody wants to buy my own catalog now for a few millions of dollars, I will sell. Easy.
I agree with you because you remember in 2020.
I will sell.
You remember in 2020.
You know, because I'm.
No, please go ahead. Go ahead.
You know, I will sell because I'm not even pursuing a musical career anymore. You understand? If I get good capital, I'll invest it elsewhere because otherwise my catalog is not really doing much for me. So if somebody has a better use
For it,
and wants
I'll
to buy,
sell.
it's like you have a house, you're not even living in the house, and somebody
true.
wants to buy the house.
Those people know how
You're
to
living in
milk
another
it
country.
very
You're living in
well.
another country.
Yeah, they know how to
Yes,
milk it
you're
very
living in
well.
another country. Your asset is just there. Somebody has better idea and say, oh, instead of just this house, living fallow.
Let me put your songs in
not
Wakanda
sell?
movies. Let me put it on ESPN. Let me make money. Why not?
Yeah, why not?
So,
I will say.
so now, I was reading a few weeks back. Now, AI music is everywhere, as you all know, and there's
very
no
sad.
really
Very,
IP.
very sad.
There's no really, very sad, but it has come to stay. Like
Irrespective of what Kanye West might say, irrespective of what Timbaland might say, these are very huge producers who seem to be advocating for the use of
AI music. Yeah.
Irrespective of those guys, I still think it's very sad.
Very sad. But I like this analogy a lot. Towards the end of the 19th century, when the Polaroid camera came into play, so many artists that, we all know that back then people used to sketch. You sketch the picture of King, Queen Elizabeth, all of these things. There's nothing like, they really they consider you very wealthy if you can have your painting, because painters, they were very, very rich.
Yes.
So now the Polaroid camera came into effect, came to the industry.
Yes.
People are beginning to snap a lot of
new tech.
a lot of real
one shot.
Yeah, a lot of real artists, they really complain that this is not going to last. This is not going to stay. That's what they were saying, that, oh no, this is never going to stay. This is like some kind of gimmick. But today, even everybody have camera on their phone. So, we can see that. So
yes.
I can see that same pattern for AI music. It's sad that my wife listened to AI music and she thought this is real music. And because of the fact that my hair is so sharp.
Yeah, you can't tell. But
I say this is AI music.
Tell.
And the 3 times now that happened, 100% correct on my end that this is AI music. But now it looks like nobody really care anymore. The people are just loving it. But now when it comes to the ownership, when it comes to AI music, I'm beginning to read some things about it. When you use AI to generate music, I heard that there's no copyright. You can't register it. But if it's AI assisted writing, to some extent you can register some portion of it. But if you just use it for an idea, you didn't really use any form of AI, synthetic or whatever.
So this is it.
Yeah, how does it work for AI?
If AI created the work, nobody owns the work.
Okay.
Simple. How does AI create the work? You put in a prompt,
and it
generates the work. But if you use AI in your production workflow, right? How can you use AI in your production workflow? I'm sure you know this, but let me just say this for the benefit of those that may not know. You sang a part and you want a choral effect. You don't have a full choir. You use AI, to generate the choir. You understand what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay, you don't have drums. You don't even have a drum machine. You use your mouth to just
do it.
Record the rhythm, the drum rhythm. Use AI to generate the actual real drums, or you all kinds of ways. You can cite more examples, where, or you write the lyrics. You are not a very good singer, and you put a sample of your voice. The AI uses your voice to apply it to the melody that maybe you played on the keyboard. That's AI assisted
writing or
in the production.
Yeah.
You are still the creator. You only used AI as a tool.
So you can still register. You can still register those.
Yes, you still own the copyright for that because you are still the creator. But if you only instructed AI to create the music, the difference.
True prompt engineering.
Yes, then you are not the creator. You only instructed a machine to create, and the machine does not own copyright.
Oh,
neither you who instructed the machine. So that's the difference, and every technology has its own limitations and expiry date, so to say.
Yeah, that's it.
I mean, I remember when I was doing my final year project as a music law student. I'm a music tech student. The topic, my final year project, was digital recording, because it was a new thing then. It was a new thing then. Recording with computer, recording on hard disk. No, the industry was coming from recording on tape. That's what So, people at the time disrespected digital recording.
Looking at it as some sort of shortcut gimmicks or...
No, the quality wasn't even that good at the time because sample rates were weaker. You understand? Are you going to record one track on a whole album? Even the sound card wouldn't give you is it 24
Beats.
that we were recording on tape, exactly 24 beats on tape at the time. Maybe you record on 4 beats or 6 beats because of space limitations, and you don't even have processing power to process something heavy. So the first work we produced on tape. Flip tires.
Wow.
I still have the tape.
Wow.
I still have the reel-to-reel tape.
Reel-to-reel tape. I know it. Yeah.
Exactly. Now, 2026, I feel like, okay, I want to get some data from that tape, and let me try and get a reel-to-reel player that
Can transform
can
it.
extract that data from that tape and convert to digital. I couldn't get. All the senior engineers at the time, even that I worked under, at the time, I asked them, okay, they said no, they don't do analog recordings anymore. Everybody has moved to digital. I said, you that used to insult digital recording in that time.
Wow.
Yes, everybody has moved to digital. And of course, quality of digital has improved so much.
Tremendously, yeah. Tremendously, yeah. If you
want to have analog feel, you use tape filters and all of that to give you that, And so I think AI, to cut the long story short, AI music has come to stay. It's not going anywhere.
Yeah, thank you.
And the average ear cannot tell
the difference. That's what is even more crazy. Yes.
Yeah. And it's only going to get better. That even professional ears will not tell the difference after a while.
Yes, that's what I used to say. The current state of AI music or AI generation or whatever it is going to be the worst state you're going to see it, because it's going to get better and better.
It's going to get better
and better.
I mean, right now, there are some samples that even if you hear it flip, you don't know whether it's analog sample or digital sample.
Yeah, I feel bad
because those kits, those drum kits sound so realistic. You'll be wondering, is this real drums recording or is it digital sample? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know. I feel bad for so many companies now, because I know there are so many companies will go out of business very soon.
Why I feel bad about it is that, ultimately, a lot of royalties are allocated from a pool. From a pool of royalties. Now, with AI music flooding the market, that means the amount of works that this money will be allocated to is increasing, but the pool is not increasing because the subscribers are not, to the streaming platforms are not increasing.
Really increasing like that.
Advertising income is not increasing at the same rate, meaning that each work is getting reduced in value because of saturation. It's like demand and supply.
The pool is not big, and everybody wants to swim in that pool. So at the end of the day,
so that's why I am not happy with it.
Yeah, true.
That's why I'm not happy with it.
The AI music. Yeah, that's true. I never thought about it that way. Yeah. So it's really been a great time, going through all of this with you, because even personally, I'm learning a lot, and I feel like people listening will really pick up a lot. What advice do you have to creators, business-wise, and looking into the future of what is happening now in terms of royalties, AI coming into play? What can you tell the creators, to watch out for in the next few years? Yeah.
If you are making music, you are distributing music, you're a producer, you're a songwriter, you have publishing works, please just download GLMP app, whether Android or iOS. Just download GLMP app.
Register.
If somebody has used your music or your lyrics and they are not paying, you don't need to fight them. Just go to GLMP website, greenlightmusicpub.com, file a dispute. People are collecting millions. I mean, we are helping people to collect millions on that. You understand? Somebody else mistakenly used your lyrics.
Just go. So
you don't need to fight the person.
Yeah. So to so many people that might not really understand what Justin is saying now. So if you don't leave any money on the table, if you know you have issue, reach out to a publisher, and it's telling you about Greenlight Publishing that is very close to you.
Yes.
Just go download the app, go to Greenlight Music Publishing, register, filing a claim, and you'll be surprised how much you can get. So it's very interesting that, like I told you personally, I know so many cases that you've looked into and things that have come out of them, and so I know exactly what you're saying. Yeah, it's really been a great time talking to you. Going through all of these different angles, and from the history to the current to what is going to happen in the future. And I believe that a lot of people will learn from this conversation. Thank you very much, Justin Ige, for joining me.
Yes.
For joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you. It's been an interesting conversation too.
Yeah, it was a great one. Yeah.